this is going slightly out of order, but that's for the very simple reason that I didn't pick this up until I'd gotten to this point in time. I do not see that many of these come up on eBay. This is a Playmates Starship Enterprise NCC-1701-B. And this is part of their Star Trek Generations range because, well, you only see the Enterprise B in Star Trek Generations, the 7th film of the original era of Star Trek movies. I had to think about that one for a moment, but it does come after Undiscovered Country. So Kirk appears on board this ship along with Chekhov and Scotty on its maiden voyage to sort of, christen it and so on. And hilarities then ensue involving an energy ribbon that Kirk is then sucked into. But this ship was ostensibly, a new ship, and yet it's also an Excelsior class. It's an Excelsior class with bits bolted on. Now, you might be getting a slight sense of deja vu in that, yes, Diamond Select did this one as well. But for some reason, this one and the Excelsior, which the Playmates did also cover, so they did an NCC 2000 as well, but that one seems to be very difficult to get over here in Britain. I've seen them for sale on eBay, but over in the States, so you'd be looking at 3 figures to bring one over probably easily. But they are essentially the same thing. Even the boxes look really, really similar. So for a while, I actually thought that only this existed and the Excelsior didn't. But the Excelsior is a thing as well. It just seems to be even more obscure than the B for some reason. So let's have a look at this box. So we've got Star Trek Generations, Excelsior class vessel as seen in the movie Star Trek Generations. Indeed, exclusive mini Star Trek Generations movie poster included. So we'll have to have a look for that. Press here to activate sounds isn't going to work because it's blocked off and it's ancient. Working lights and sounds from the movie Star Trek Generations. It's the never-before-seen USS Enterprise NCC-1701-B, commanded by Captain Harriman, assuming, of course, it's not a Tuesday. 4 Star Trek Generation sounds: Nexus Ribbon, Phaser, Warning Signal, and Tractor Beam. And oddly, the Excelsior box looks like they borrowed the same text. I think it refers to a Nexus Ribbon as well, which it shouldn't do because the Excelsior was nowhere near that. 2 light-up engine exhaust and navigational deflector. Star Trek Generations Deluxe Movie Stand. Okay, interesting. And bonus technical blueprint inside. Now, I haven't looked inside this box yet. I don't know if I've got all of these components, but we will find out shortly together. So, a little bit of bump on the side there. Basically what we've just read. Okay, so a little bit of blurb to be read here then. Let's have a look. Try and get that a little bit better centered. So, Starfleet Command, Condition Red report, access granted. First report filed on the breathtaking technology and design of the USS Enterprise NCC-1701-B, the 3rd Starfleet vessel to boldly display the name Enterprise, is a stunning achievement of space engineering. Just trying to think, is it the 3rd? Not. Well, there's the original, then there's the refit, then there's the A. Arguably the 4th, but you could argue that the refit is the original, so yeah. Okay. Authorised by Starfleet Command's Advanced Starship Design Bureau, ASDB, and constructed in 2295. The USS Enterprise B measures a remarkable 467 metres long. The space frame employs the pattern used for the USS Excelsior, the vessel nicknamed the Great Experiment after the controversial Transwarp Drive project proved unsuccessful. The USS Enterprise B, however, utilises the standard warp drive and, under the command of Captain Harriman, was launched to explore and chart the star system in the Gurami sector and regions beyond. While on its maiden voyage, however, the ship encountered its first in-service test. A distress call from an alien vessel required the immediate attention of Captain Harriman and Captain James Kirk, who joined the crew for its inaugural launch. 2 particularly curious aliens from the Elorian race, known as Guinan and Dr. Soren, escaped their vessel along with others just moments before it exploded. A strange space anomaly seemed to have been responsible for the alien ship's damage. The last transmission from the USS Enterprise B was that it too was being pulled towards the space phenomenon. End report. Further information available pending resolve of current mission. Starfleet out. So, there we go. So we've got Center Alert, Nexus Ribbon, Phaser, Tractor Beam, so various sound effects there. Battle section. Does it have a battle section? Okay. Effects activation buttons, main bridge, phaser array, saucer module, Star Trek Generations display base, which is shared by many things I think of this era. Light up navigational deflector, light up engine exhausts. Okay. Various other bits available here, many of which we've seen, although not all. Engineering placer and Klingon disruptor I don't have. We have seen a bird of prey, we have seen an Enterprise D. Press the effects activation button to hear the dynamic movie sounds. Witness the light up engine exhausts and the light up navigational deflector. Display the USS Enterprise on the Star Trek Generations Deluxe movie stand, which may or may not be in this box because I haven't looked yet, but I'm about to right now. This is stock number 6172. So let's have a look and see what state this is in. It's actually, well, it's sealed ostensibly. Just wondering if it's sealed on the other side as well. No, okay. That's obvious because that means I can get into it. Let's have a look. Let's see what we've got. Okay. Looking hopeful. Okay. Complete with innards as well. We've got some inner packaging, which is nice. Doesn't look to be anything else left in there, so I'll set the box aside. Wow. Okay, so this may actually not have ever seen light of day. It's possible. So we have a stand here. Well, this is more of an unboxing than I imagined, because I rather thought it would just be kind of loose in the box, but obviously someone has not. Now then, okay. So there's a detachable warp nacelle, so I better be a little bit careful how I go with this. Yeah, I think we've got hold of all the important bits there. But I think there's more to come. Okay. So it looks like we've got a sort of a. Now that's interesting for Playmates actually. I'm trying to think if Playmates normally do this, but you can see that. I would say that's the cover for underneath where the stand could fit. Yeah, I think Playmates must do that as standard. But this I think is where the stand point is going to fit in if you want it in there. So that would be your sort of optional fixed point there for the stand. It's clever. So that's that. This can't be working, can it? That is hilarious. I love it when they do that to me, when I think there's absolutely no chance it could possibly be on, coming straight out of the box, and in fact it is. So maybe somebody tested it and just didn't take the batteries out. It's always possible, I guess. It's always possible. Well, let's make use of the stand then, because we have the bottom piece of the stand there. And obviously that's the way it's supposed to be, because it mirrors a communicator badge sort of effect. So let's just slot the stand together, and we can kind of go from there. And it would help if I was doing the stand the right way around. Okay, that seems to be in. Let's pop her on the stand. Oh, that saves me hunting around the house for battery. Nothing else. So there we go. Let me just see how this is looking for you here. Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. So as you can see, she's gonna. I mean, there's no point zooming in actually, because she's going to be big. She's going to be big when she's got her nacelles in place as well, because the nacelles will go behind her. I'll show you the spare clip there. Let's get this into place. I assume this is just a clip-on. Now, I don't think it mentioned having light-up nacelles, which would be a bit of a shame, but there we go. All right, look at that. That's a bit of a beast, actually. It's actually more of a beast than I thought it was going to be in some respects. It really is, because I didn't think that that it would be quite so sort of untouched. I can't remember if it was actually said it had been displayed or anything, or if it's literally fresh out of the box. But it's impressive. It's impressive. And as Scotty once said, that is a big ship. Or was it? No, it wasn't Scotty, was it? But you know, it's the sentiment's there. It's definitely a great big hunk of starship. That it really is. To the point where I can only just get it in shots from this range. I might even have to come back a little bit. That's pretty crazy. So this means logically that we should get a light up navigational deflector. So let's see what happens if I turn down my lighting a touch. Left, right and centre. Let's see what happens if we've got this effect. Zoom in. There we go. It's interesting, it's slightly off kilter, isn't it? I don't know if that's intentional or not. Perhaps it is. Unmistakable phaser sound. Let's have a look at the impulse engines and see if they're working. Yep. I don't remember it doing that the first time round. That's strange. How strange. I mean, presumably that was all. I thought they'd all be the same sound effects each time. It sounds like tractor beam to me. So what are we supposed to have? So we've got tractor beam, sensor alert, nexus ribbon, and phaser. The phaser is very self-explanatory because phasers always sound like phasers. So the other thing that was in the box, which I haven't actually shown you yet, because I've really just noticed it myself, I put to one side as I was grabbing everything out. Was this? Let's just zoom back out again. So there she is. So it's very. It's a good size. It's a nice display model. I mean, it's as ever with the Playmates ones. You can see the screw holes underneath, but nonetheless, it's a pretty detailed kind of model. Nonetheless, you know, it looks good. It's obviously, you know, as with any Playmates toy, it's a toy. It's not as model-esque as the Diamond Select ones are, because it's designed to be swooshed around on a more regular basis, this one. But nonetheless, and you can see here it's got a very pronounced Enterprise B sort of hull extension here, which is what they did to differentiate it from the Excelsior. And also because for the film, the Generations film, they needed to damage this section here as well, and they didn't want to damage the original Excelsior shooting model, so they put this extended piece of hull to sort of differentiate it, and they also bolted on some more impulse engines on the sides as well, just to try and beef it up and make it look like it's, you know, a more impressive form of the Excelsior. And this here as well, I've got all the little mini posters and so on that were mentioned. So let's have a look at these. So again, this looks like it must have been opened once, because it looks like it's got a used sticker sheet in here as well. So it must have been, someone must have looked after this very carefully, and they've either used it just to display, or something, because they've obviously kept all the innards of the box. So here we've got a rather small blueprint, but a blueprint nonetheless. So that is what it is. I think all of the Playmates boxes tend to come with this sort of thing as an extra. But that's got things like Buzzard collector, impulse engines, main bridge, main shuttle bay, and so on. So there's a little bit more detail there than you'd get probably on the back of the box. So that's quite a sort of a nice to have in that sense. And we've got this Star Trek Generations mini poster here, which I will try and unfurl for you to have a look at. Well, it's definitely a mini poster. Why is... I suppose that does make sense, actually. Of course, this was that film that when I showed you the Enterprise B last time round. It is an unusual film in that it features two Enterprises in the same film, which is not a thing that normally happens. So you get the Enterprise B here, and then you get the Enterprise D not long after. So there is that sort of element to it, but that is the rather underwhelming Star Trek Generations mini poster. It was funny because I was just noticing that was a thing when I was looking for examples of the Excelsior from Playmates on the eBay just now. Now, that does look as though it's actually missing some stickers still. There look to be some stickers unused on there, but that's nice to have it anyway. So I wonder if they go round the nacelles or something. That's why it's missing them. And there I've got the necessary placements sheet to tell me what I'm supposed to do with those remaining stickers. So I guess if I wanted to, I could actually complete it as a slight side project if I wished. But that's impressive. I mean, it's not quite as big perhaps as the original series Enterprise in certain respects, because this is it's thinner but longer, which is always the problem with these Excelsior class ships, is that they work really well for a widescreen cinematic starship, which I think is probably partly the point. You know, they just fit better on a wide screen, but as a result they are quite short height-wise. I mean, it's all relative scale, obviously, but you know that's just the way they're filmed, I suppose. But I think the Playmate stuff always surprises me. I always think it's somehow going to be more inferior than it is actually. If that makes any sort of sense as a sentence. It's just I'm always pleasantly surprised by them when I actually end up getting them out of the box. Basically, I mean, the detailing is never as subtle and spot on as the Diamond Select ones are, but nonetheless, they're really good, accurate models, and there's never any mistaking what the starship is when you get it out of the box. So you can't fault them for that at all. I'm still slightly amazed that actually had batteries in it, and obviously it all works very, very happily. So I'm glad I plumped for that one, because it did fill the gap that I would otherwise have had in my Playmate selection. So I've enjoyed having a look at that one. It's nice that it's sort of fully complete with all its optional hatches and instructions and everything else as well. So yeah, really, really happy with that as a pickup. So have a quick look in the box and see if there's anything else I was missing from there, but I don't think there is. Now, one interesting thing is I don't know if this is now actually going to go back in the box. As I remember, there was a comment in the auction about not having put the nacelles on, because that was a sort of a kind of potential breakage point for it, especially in transit, I suppose. But I just wonder if they're actually that easy to pop back off once you put them on. So that's something I'm going to have to investigate very, very carefully if I decide to dismantle it. So on that bombshell, I will leave it there for now. I do have again, I'm not quite clear on where I'm going to go next. I could return to the inner space / Strike Force era and have a look there. One thing I didn't notice actually was a year for this one. I'm just having a quick look on the box. 1994 for this. Because obviously this was very much a Generations tie-in, and they did do a few Generations tie-ins, because I remember that one of the Birds of Prey has a Generations tie-in feature to it as well. But of course, this, as with that one, doesn't feature speech, because in mid-90s speech on these toys wasn't a thing. You had to wait until Diamond Select before you started getting speech phrases thrown into the mix. So, hope you've enjoyed that one, as I say, and it'll either be Strike Force or possibly another large ship next time. I'll see how I get on with it as an approach, and see what I've got left to do. Alright, cheers for now.